Rotarian John.
John,
Yes.
you can smile yet.
I can't see when I smile. Can't see close with glasses, can't see far without them. It's brutal. Yeah, preoccupied, running late. Never good. So we'll start with member anniversaries. We have Burton Guidry with 6 years with Rotary. Thank you, Burton. And then we have a wedding anniversary, Milton and Angie LeBlanc. Those are not here today. Okay. And that's it for today. Are there any Rotarians with guests?
I got one, but you've already met him, Father Mark Miley and Catherine Kaplan.
Great.
Father Miley's dad was a Rotarian in New Iberia. He knows.
Oh, well. Anybody else? Any visiting Rotarians? Sure we don't miss anybody? So that's it for today. I don't have a National Day of Food, which I'm disappointed in that. But I'll be back next week.
All right, thank you very much, John. All right, we'll start our meeting, a little Rotary education tip. Talking about Rotary mottos. We all know what our motto is today, but the motto of Rotary International, the very first one was, "He profits most who serves best." Anybody remember that one? That's way back in the day, I'm sure.
Lloyd does it.
Lloyd, you heard it. So that was what it was. He profits most who serves best was the approved. And at the second Rotary Convention, held actually in Portland, Oregon, in August of 1911, the phrase was first stated by a Chicago Rotarian by the name of Art Sheldon, who made a speech in 1910 which included the remark, "He profits most who serves his fellows best." At about the same time, Ben Collins, who was the president of the Rotary Club of Minneapolis, Minnesota, commented that the proper way to organize a Rotary Club was through the principle his club had adopted, service, not self, quote unquote. These two slogans, slightly modified, were formally approved to be the official mottos of Rotary of the 1950 convention, which was held in Detroit. He profits most who serves best, and service above self. And then in 1989, Council on Legislation established service above self, which as the principle of motto of Rotary, since it best explains the philosophy of unselfish volunteer service. So that's where that comes from. Pretty interesting. On your tables we have District Governor Connector, and I will continue to try to print those out ongoing on a monthly basis as we receive them. We do have the capability of sending it out via email, and we probably will do both processes to make sure that everybody attains it. So we'll continue to print it as long as we can. Great information. We were posted in the last one. They have other Rotary clubs continuing to provide community services throughout the district that will be posted, and we'll continue to share those as well. There's a very important part on page 3. We received an email regarding what the Rotary Foundation is doing, and you will see on page 3, here we go. It's the district auction, which this auction is actually going to be occurring every month. From what I'm understanding, it's going to be a different painting or artwork every month, which was efforts of Martha and Mike Collins. This auction, the link is here on page 3, that you can go to place a bid. This money goes directly to the Rotary Foundation, and the winner that wins this item will be in their name as well. So you can see a picture of the item. We'll have those posted every month and continue to share that. So This is something that they're doing a little differently this year. The item is One Team, One Heart. Definitely referencing LSU's 15-0 season and the 2019 National Championship to launch this year's auction. So this is the first one. It's open from August 1st to August 31st at 3 p.m. That is when you have an opportunity to place a bid for that. A lot of other great information on the connector as well, and as I said, we'll continue to post those. The second item you have at your table is a reminder of the remaining 2020 district summer webinars. We've already conducted public image. Last week was membership, which they cut poor Rob out. They didn't give Rob enough time to talk about his section. Rob and Pam both presented on that webinar. Next Monday, August the 10th, is the next one. This coming Monday at 6 p.m. and it's on the foundation. Again, you want to register for these ahead of time. We can forward you the emails. We continue to receive them on a weekly basis. But this is information on those last two. It's on Monday at August 10th at 6 p.m. And then the last one will be on the 24th of August. Any questions with that, you can please see me after the meeting. So, wanted to notify you guys as a club prior to this year's administration coming in and COVID started under Robert Greer's leadership. We were notified of the district's want to establish and request a grant to provide supplies or food supplies to those in need in communities across the district. So we had collaborated and submitted 2 names in our area, that is the Christian Service Center and Briggs Food Pantry with the Methodist Church here in Abbeville. Yesterday, I think it was yesterday, we received an email, Robert, Annette, and myself, from the district stating that they had chosen 20 sites to donate the supplies and the food to, and our 2 sites are included in that 20 across the district. So, I mean, that is amazing. So donations and grant monies and so forth, the district have purchased supplies. They're shipping it to 4 locations: Houma, Baton Rouge, Lake Charles, and Lafayette, central locations. And they will see about getting the supplies shipped to Christian Service Center and Briggs here. Jim?
Of note is that the grant and the money that the district put up is over $26,000, so it's a substantial amount of food.
That's 26,000. Wow, I didn't know that, Jim. Thank you for that. So we're excited about that, and I will notify them directly. I will contact these 2 entities and let them know to expect the shipment. And they're going to coordinate with their normal shipments. They're going to add that to that and let them know of that. So you contributed to that, so thank you all for that. A reminder regarding the COVID information. I know Annette has been doing a great job, and Paul as well, in sending out the numbers, the updates on a daily basis, many times, sometimes every other day or so. We're going to continue to do that. So if anybody is not receiving that in the Remind app or email and you want to receive it, if you're not receiving and you want to, please let us know today. Let myself and Annette know. We'll add you to that list. We'll be glad to send it. Paul, you have any updated numbers?
I sure do. As of today,
So today, I'm going to repeat it for Tom.
1,493 cases, almost 1,500.
1,493 cases in Vermilion Parish.
Correct. And then we have one more death, so it's 20 deaths.
Total of 20 deaths.
And the total amount of people tested was 17,713.
17,713 total tests completed.
That's from the very beginning to now.
Okay. Thank you, Paul. All right. Do we have any items of business to discuss before we move over to our presentation? All right. Immediately following this meeting, I don't see all leadership committees here, but we will have a leadership committee, chair, and board meeting immediately following this meeting. So please don't run off. I need everybody's close participation. And everybody's will is certainly can join. So Terry, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you so you can present our speaker for the day. One thing that I forgot to write down, I was reminding myself when I was out there, Annette sent in the Remind app a picture from Mark. Sure, I was extremely excited about that, and I was wondering when are we going to see the results from what we did out there in the mud and the water and the marsh. So it was sent out. I don't know if you didn't receive it, but if you want to see it, it was sent out, a picture from space. That was a couple years ago we did that?
2 years ago.
2 years ago when we went crawling in the marsh, in the water, in the mud, and planted the marsh grass. We can now see the rotary wheel from space that is created in, what lake is it?
Onion Lake. And,
Onion Lake.
It needs a little bit of shored up, so if anybody wants to
We'll have to do it again.
have some fresh air, sunshine, vitamin D, it's healthy to be out there, let me know. And Judge doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to get him maybe that Saturday morning for a couple hours. We just need to dress up a couple more spokes.
I saw it. I mean, you can tell. You can see the keyhole.
And the
Yeah.
shock, yeah.
That is pretty amazing. That is pretty amazing. Annette?
Okay, today it's our pleasure to have a local homegrown product with us today. Our Executive Director of the Vermilion Chamber of Commerce, and she has been such since 2007. I'm saying she's homegrown, I'm not sure about that, but she finished Abbeville High and UL, so I figured she couldn't have come from too far. Those is her background. She taught business subjects at Maurice and left there the year before North Vermilion was opened. And for the next 28 years, she was a business instructor at the technical school in Lafayette and finished out her teaching career at the LTC Gulf Area Campus, which we now know as SLCC Gulf Area Campus here in town. In her 13 years as the executive director of the chamber, she's been part of implementing the Leadership Vermilion program, the Young Professional Division of the chamber, the Fuel Vermilion, the Chamber Scholarship, and she was instrumental in the opening of our Palmetto Island State Park, leading the charge for the funding of economic development in Vermilion Parish. During her first years there at the chamber, she started off with a bang. She was responsible for creating the first full color community profile and the first Vermilion Parish map. So she has a wonderful history of helping us improve our parish, and today she's going to let us know what is currently happening, the struggles of dealing with COVID, and perhaps where we're going and the light at the end of the tunnel for this thing. So help me welcome Lynn Guillory.
Thank you, Chris. When Terry called and asked me to speak, of course I went, oh, sure. And then I started thinking, COVID, what in the world am I going to talk about? Because I'll tell you, the chamber is kind of like all the rest of you businesses. When this hit, we kind of were sitting on stop and trying to figure out where we were headed. You know, I think we've finally gotten a grip, and I'll kind of fill you in as to some of the things that we've been doing. I'm passing out a packet, and the teacher in me is debating because I know as soon as I pass it out, I'm going to lose your attention, and you guys are all going to be reading the stuff that's in it. So let me tell you about some of the things that we've been up to. We talked about the community profile, and when the year started, we received our brand new community profile, and what we did, we asked the chamber back when I started to please let us do a full-blown magazine to sell the parish. And the reason we did this, when we were getting calls for people to come visit here, move here, and they would ask for information, we looked pretty pitiful. We would make copies of stuff and put it in a manila envelope and send it. And I kept thinking, if I got that in the mail, I'm not moving here. So, I mean, seriously, we looked really bad, and we have a beautiful community. This is our 4th issue, and there's one person in here I really want to thank. I called him out of the blue because I had some recommendations, and Chuck Landry. We had been using the same photo in our magazines, and I wanted something a little different. So I talked to Chuck. I had heard that he had some beautiful photos, and he said, Lynn, he says, I'll let you use them. So we wanted to go with a different theme, and if you look in your packet on the right-hand, I'm directionally impaired. On the left-hand side, that is our new magazine that we just came out, and I would think Chuck is responsible for almost all of the photos, except for the one of the river. We had that one from the beginning, and we kept it in there to kind of go along with everything else. I will tell you now, when we have people that stop by and we show this off, I think it shows off Vermilion in its light and how beautiful it is. And I think people are excited to see it. So that started the year with a bang. We thought we were great. Then COVID hit. And all of a sudden, everything got put on stop. No events because we didn't know what to do. Leadership program was going on, and I thought, probably just like some of you, oh, it can't be that bad. We're going to continue. Well, I have 6 people in my class from the medical profession, and in March when I said, we're going to still meet, I got emails from them, and it's like, yes, Lynn, you're not taking this too serious, we're not going. So it's like, oh, maybe I need to reevaluate this. So when all of this started, I tried to figure out what my role was. And I know that you probably know this. Everything started happening so fast with what was out there for businesses. Programs that you could take advantage of, loans that were available, and I just looked at my job this way. My job was to make sure that my business members got the news. We didn't want anybody to be left out of anything or to struggle. So I kind of bombarded them on a daily basis. This is new, and finally I had to email somebody who's like, am I sending you too much? And one person said yes. The other one said, but no, Lynn, we need to see this, and if you don't send it, if we need it, then it's like shame on you. So I kept bombarding them. I think things started slacking off in that area. And then we got very concerned listening to the rumors of gloom and doom and what was going to be happening in this parish. So it became very interesting. We started calling our members to see how they were doing. We had focus groups on Zoom, sometimes successful, sometimes technology not so successful. And we asked them 3 questions. And then I kept thinking, I want to ask them something that maybe we can end on a positive note. And the final question that I asked them, when COVID ends, do you see any light at the end of the tunnel? And I want to tell you some of the things that we heard. And what was surprising, we had some very positive responses. There were not too many businesses that were like, oh my God, I'm shutting down, can't do it. It has been really amazing to hear them. And I think it's our parish. We're very resilient. We're hard workers. We're not going to let anybody get us down. So these are some of the takeaways from the bright spots. We started the year with the theme, Think Vermilion. And we've always believed that we need to get our citizens to think about our local businesses. And before we leave this community to go spend our dollars elsewhere, they need to support our community. I think one of the things that COVID did, maybe it's because they couldn't go to Lafayette with all the crowds, they have been really supporting our local businesses. And I really hope that this stays after. I think y'all had already heard from the mayor, their sales taxes are up. And I think that's because the people in our community are really thinking twice before they leave. I think they're supporting our businesses. Lafayette, their sales taxes are down, and to me that's telling me that a lot of their shoppers from rural parishes are staying in their communities. So I think that's a plus for us. One of the things that some of the young ones said in these discussions, I think COVID has made businesses realize that you can be flexible with your employees and they will appreciate it, and it doesn't mean that they will work or they will not work. You know what I'm saying? Being flexible with their times, whether they work in the office, whether they work at home, that has been a phenomenal thing. When I first started with the chamber, I really believe that businesses that are going to succeed in the future need to be really understanding of their employees and what their needs are. I think working at home is such a huge plus, and I'm hoping that companies that have done that will realize that this is not necessarily a bad thing. This could be a great thing. One of our companies that we talked to said during COVID, all of their work could be done at home, and she says, you know, Miss Lynn, they're all so happy. We're going to continue this after COVID. She says, we have just put together a policy that says, as long as you can accomplish the following things, I don't care where you get your work done. And I really believe that if this happens, your employees will stay with you a lot longer and will be much happier and loyal with you. The one thing I just heard about y'all, and I think it's just amazing. One of the companies that we called, she says, you know, Ms. Lynn, she says, my employees can't work from home. I need them here. But the uncertainty of what's going to happen with school, some of them are thinking about homeschooling. And if they homeschool, then the problem is, do I lose them as an employee? And I don't want that to happen. So what she did, she had a spare room in her office and converted that spare room into a study center. And she says, I don't care if they do virtual schooling from that room. They can bring their children here to work with me. She says, if they want to do homeschooling and they have a tutor, they can bring them in. And I told them, I said, kudos for you, because you know what? That employee will probably stay with you a lot longer. When I mentioned this to another person, she's the one that's letting them stay at home. She goes, oh my God, I didn't think of this. I just might have to do the same thing. So I just think that COVID has brought about some really, really unique ways of keeping employees happy. And I'm excited about this, and I really would love to see some of these things continue. So I think that that's a great thing. Overall, what all of them has said, one of them that I've talked to said, you know, we finished doing our work at home and we were sitting on the back porch with our children, playing board games. And it dawned on us that life is too short, and we were really moving fast in the rat race. And I looked back, and this person said, I don't remember the last time that I was with my girls doing this. So it's made, I think, a lot of people reevaluate the value of time with their family. And life goes on. She says, I have done just as much work, but I've spent more time with my children. And she says, I think that it's made me realize that this was very important. Okay. So, I think so. I think so. And I'm sure if I would have the time and ask some of y'all probably have thought of some really, really cool things to do. But I just think that that was important. Now, for some serious stuff. Now that we're kind of getting back in the groove, one of the things in your packet, and you'll see it on the right-hand side, the chamber, I think it was 2 days ago, and my background is education, and that is my passion, and I still think of myself as a teacher. When the article came out about the applicants for superintendent, we read the article, and we had been hearing rumors, won't say what they were. And the chamber, and it was me, I asked my team if they would allow me to develop a letter, very positive, and encourage the school board to develop a process that would really interview and evaluate the 3 candidates based on their vision for what they're going to do for Vermilion Parish. I think the letter came out pretty good, and I'm looking at Daniel back there because I know he was a superintendent, so I'm kind of getting his eye contact. We didn't want to tell them what to do. We wanted to offer assistance. Because I think it's important that our schools have been amazing, and we want to continue that trend. The letter was sent out. We are pressed for time. We heard rumors that there's going to be a special meeting Thursday, which is tomorrow, and this might be on the agenda. So, was that you making a comment, John?
No.
Oh, okay. So what we did is we sent out the letters. I am so excited about the positive comments that we have received from the community. We don't know what's going to happen. So we will just monitor this. I think that I just sent an email today to the 3 candidates congratulating them and wishing them well. I just want people in the community to understand that we're not picking favorites. We just want to make sure that the process works so that the community feels like they have a good leader for the schools with a vision. So, any questions about that?
Say who the candidates are, is that?
Yes, there are 3 candidates, Mr. Brad Prudham, Mr. Tommy Byler, and Mr. Paul Avier. So those are the 3 that applied, 3 local people. So we're kind of monitoring that. I have not received the agenda yet, but we've heard that it might be on the agenda for the school board meeting tomorrow. So we're kind of watching that.
What is the current selection process right now?
We're not sure.
Being at somebody's house right now to talk about it.
Okay, that was wrong, that said that. Well, this is the rumors that we've heard. I pulled up the procedures from the school board policy handbook. It's pretty vague. It's really left up to the school board how they conduct it. We also heard that they also looked at the state superintendent guidelines. There was nothing in there about how it should be conducted, and we heard rumors that there was talk of having no interviews, just having a vote at the meeting. So I'll tell you, that's another thing that spurred the letter on. I look at it this way. These 3 candidates, we have had some amazing people in Vermilion, and it doesn't matter to me who they choose, but they should all have a chance to explain their vision for the schools. So that's where we stand. Any questions? Well, I know, but I look at it this way. The chamber has made it clear what we think our standards should be in selecting a leader. Whether it happens or not, we have still made it clear. So that's how. Any questions? Okay, nobody's ready to throw me out the room yet? Okay. Keep me, Chris, keep me on time. Okay. Now, one of the things that we did, leadership. This year we started our 7th class. They call themselves the class of COVID or the class that's flexible. Because we started in January, we met in February, they're supposed to graduate in October, and 3 months were canceled because of COVID. So we've been doing Zoom conference calls to try to figure out what in the world we're going to do. All of them agreed, if you put us on virtual meetings all day long, we're just going to run out of here screaming. And I don't know about you, I feel the same way. They all wanted to have in-person meetings. Michelle Glatter, and I've heard that she spoke to y'all, is in the class and she gave me guidelines. As soon as they lifted the 10, our 2 tours, we normally would tour the parish on a cultural tour. That is out. They all boudin. I said, I can't pack 22 of y'all in a bus. We cannot do, or we could not do, the bus tour to the state capitol. Again, we can't put 22 in a bus. They all boutique. We can't do, we used to do a boat tour of the Vermilion and Mark. This is where we would see all the efforts for coastal protection and restoration. Can't do the boat tour. They all boutique. But at least they're happy we're getting back together. We are not jipping them out of anything. We've just had a very big challenge. I have half-day puzzle pieces that we're trying to match up together to see what we're going to do. And I think that we've come up with a plan that I think they're going to be excited. So we're going there. We have decided to send out applications for our Class 8. Normally we would start the class in January. We have put off the opening date till February, and keep your fingers crossed that we don't have to shut down any classes for Class 7. So today the email went out, applications are open. I have the application blank in your packet if anybody is interested. And I will tell you, this is one of those programs that if I had to retire, and I'm not, so don't spread the rumor. If somebody asked me, what was the one thing that you think you did that really made a difference, this is it. This is amazing because we started the program listening to people that thought they knew the parish and they didn't. And so when we started the program, they would go through this and it was like, Ms. Lynn, I live here, didn't even know this. They're not unusual. Most of us do the same thing. So it's been an amazing process. So we're starting the class for Class 8. So if you know anybody that's interested, keep them posted. I have some of my graduates here. Robert Greer was a graduate. What class, Robert? Class 2. I have Mark, what class?
4.
Class 4, and I have Barrett. He's thinking, was it 5 or 6? 5. Okay, so some cool people in the class. I just wanted to tell you about that. We are in the plans of doing our golf tournament, because I will tell you, for a small chamber, we don't have a lot of money. And I'm not asking y'all for money, but we're one of those organizations that, listen, we've had to cancel some things, and it's like, oh my God, what are we gonna do for the rest of the year? So we're tackling a golf tournament again on August 9th. It's in your packet. And I look at it this way, it's not just for the chamber, but I'm so excited that Southern Oaks is back in this community. And I look at it this way, I want this to be something that really shows that we want you to succeed. So August 29th, I know it's gonna be hot, we're doing it in the morning. You know, hopefully we'll be finished playing pretty soon so that we're not in the afternoon passing out. Last thing I want to tell you about, and some things that we're kind of looking at. We're getting ready to partner with JA again this year for a school supply drive. Normally we would have a luncheon, get everybody to network, bring supplies to help the kids at school. Well, you know what? It's challenging to do a luncheon, so JA and I talked, and I think what we're going to be doing is asking businesses just to be drop-off points with stuff that kids need at school. And I think this year it's not necessarily going to be backpacks. There are other things that are more important. So we're getting ready to get the list. We'll be calling some of the businesses to see if they'll allow JA to put boxes there for distribution centers, and then they'll pick it up and make sure that the concerts have it. So I will tell you this, I didn't even say this to the board, but one of the things that I want to start looking at from a teacher point of view that I think COVID has really brought to the forefront. When I started teaching in Vermilion, it was very, very interesting to see the level of difference in technology between Lafayette and 20 miles down the road. And now, this year with COVID and with schools and with kids maybe doing virtual and working from home, I think it's become very obvious that we have a serious problem with those families that have great internet connection and those that don't. So I think the state started tackling the issue of rural broadband, and now it's given us capabilities of forming partnerships. And I know I talked with one of Katie and Anna yesterday about some of the partnerships that they were forming. And they're in discussions with some of the providers here in Vermillion. And I think the challenge is to find packages that a family could afford. Not everybody can afford a package that charges you $200 a month for all this stuff. So I think that's in the works, so it's something that I really want to kind of keep tabs on to see what's happening. Because I think Vermillion has those areas that are really, really struggling. And not just children in schools, but I've also heard some of the teachers. You know, so that's one of the things that we're kind of, it's on our radar, just nothing's happening yet, so that's what we'll be doing, I think. So any questions from y'all? My time is up, y'all. So any questions? If not, thank y'all very much for the invitation.
Any questions for Lynn? Oh, okay. Awesome.
Daniel didn't ask me questions about that, so I feel good.
I thought he raised his hand.
Did you?
The leadership she's exempted, the question I have for her, why did you apply for superintendent?
Why did you apply for superintendent?
Answer that question.
I know we could work and get you certified.
Well, come answer it right here. So Tom, the question from Dan is why did she not apply for superintendent?
I'm not going to curse, I promise. I will tell you.
Confession's always available, no problem.
I will tell you, when I went to school, one of my best instructors, and I learned more about teaching from watching my instructors than some of the education courses. I really did. My most favorite person was Mr. A. Ross Abear, math teacher. He made a comment that has stuck with me all my life. I think at the time Alden Suarez was retiring, and we had heard rumors that A. Ross was being groomed for the job. I was in advanced math, graduated the first year at the new high school. We were so excited. A. Ross was called out of the class to talk about this, and when he came back, you know, we tried to figure out what was going on, and we asked him if he was applying, and he says, no. And we looked at him, and he says, people need to know what they are good at. And they need to do what they love. He says, I've seen too many people that are ambitious, and they go for jobs that they don't have the skill set, and then when they retire a failure. And let me tell you something, when I was a teacher, I loved teaching accounting. And I'm not bragging, Paul, I was good, huh? And I will tell you, when I leave, teachers are there for a reason. It's like we leave a legacy. We make an impact on these kids. I was approached one time to apply for an assistant director position by some of my friends. Let's go for it. And I looked at him and I said, this is doing everything I hate. Why would I want that job? I think it takes a special person to be that leader, just like it takes a special person to be a teacher. So, okay.
Let's see real quick. I think Tom might have a statement or a question. Let's see if we can get this to work. Hold on.
Lynn, we speak of how important the selection of the superintendent is for the school system. But how important is that selection for the business community?
Could you repeat the question, Chris?
Instead of asking me.
Chris, repeat the question.
Okay, Tom asked, we talked about how important the superintendent is to the schools, but how important is it to the business community? So I might turn that question on you guys. What do y'all think about that?
I think it's good.
I think it's huge.
It's a huge thing. It's good.
John?
You gotta hire the graduate.
Okay, John.
Absolutely.
Sure. So it's very important to us that teachers want to come here and live and also shop at our.
Yeah, it's important that teachers want to come here and live in the community to be able to support the school. So it is very important for the business and the community.
I will tell you this, when I was a teacher, is it on? I think it's on. I got a short. When I was a teacher at Gulf area, Randy Scheck-Snyder and I would go round and round. And I would tell him, I said, Randy, your schools prepare those students for me. And I said, I want to get students that I can train to be employable in a year and a half. And he kind of looked at me and I said, listen, if you let them slide through the cracks in certain subjects, sometimes there's no way of playing catch up in that year and a half. And so we end up getting the blame for a child that is going out there that doesn't have the skills. And I will tell you, the schools are doing an amazing job right now. Industry used to complain about, this is what I would hear, give me somebody that can think. Give me somebody that can think. They can't think. They get a calculator, 2 + 2, 22. Okay, that's the answer. Give me somebody that can think. And I think that our schools are doing that now. You know, businesses have been fussing about the caliber of employees that they're getting, and I think schools need to understand that. So I think that on the training level, what we are putting out there has been amazing lately. It really has been. So I think we need a superintendent that understands that, not just the employees on their level, but the people that are sending them out to the world. They need to be prepared either for a job right away if that's what they want. They need to be prepared for a 2-year school, or they need to be prepared for university. And I will tell you, in leadership, we had Dr. Jamie Abear from here. Yes, A. Ross's son, talking about UL, and this is what he asked. Lynn, students from Vermillion, when they come to UL, are amazing. But the big question was, and now I'm going to start another topic. The big question was, why aren't more coming? And my answer was, how can you go to a university if you don't have a source of transportation to get there? When I taught at Gulf area, I had kids, I call them kids, they're adults, that would walk to school. So if they walk to Gulf area, how do they get to the university? So I digress. But I think we need a superintendent that understands the importance that they are a feeder for our community.
Absolutely.
Well, you know what? We went overtime, but it was wonderful. So we have this gift for you. Rotary cut it up for weight testing, and also you may already have one.
Hey, place of honor in my bag. Thank you very
I think we have a
much.
couple of drawings in the back. We have John Swear.